Yo, you ready?
Time for some fun.
Whoa. What are you doing? We can't say this on the family-friendly podcast. We can't use that language. So, let's go! Follow me into the land of happiness podcasting, where everything is happy and fun. You know what? This isn't going to work for me. DJ, let's go back.
It's going to sound real stupid. You have entered the Yamnation.
3, 2, 1.
God, what was I thinking? All right, thank you to Last Day Living for that intro. You can find them on Facebook, Reverb Nation, and all sorts of other places. Man, they rock so hard, I swear to God. Speaking of God, this time I had a chance to sit down with a local church plant/pastor, and he invited me to ask anything I wanted. Now, I know what you're thinking. What the hell is a church plant? Don't worry, because that's the first thing I asked. Not only that, but I'm introducing a new segment called Quick Questions, where you get snippets of an interview between me and other celebrities. This episode's Quick Questions is going to be with actor Casper Van Dien. You know him as Johnny Rico from Starship Troopers. You can also find him online playing Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat Legacy. If this is your first time, welcome, relax. If you've been here before, take a seat in the back, kick your shoes off. You know where the drinks are. Welcome to Yamnation. So before I get struck by lightning, let's talk Jesus! Coming up next, here it is, Quick Questions with Casper Van Dien. Quick questions. I followed you on online, and I've watched a lot of your Mortal Kombat Legacy, and I'm completely blown away by your take on Johnny Cage. Is that something you would like to take to the big screen if offered the chance?
Well, it was a thrill for me to be Johnny Cage. I had a blast. I would love to do it on the big screen if they asked me, but I think, whatever they have in store, I've heard different rumors of who it might be, and I know a lot of my friends would love to play that part too. So I know my friend Kenny Johnson would love to be that, and I think Josh Brolin is being considered for it, and all these other things. But I think that if I got the opportunity to play Johnny Cage on the big screen, it would be awesome.
Quick question.
If you're tired of the devil destroying your life, you must order the personal package, and you got to order it right now. And Thelma, God is healing you.
All right, so tell me a little bit about yourself. State your name for me.
My name is Casey Crimmins.
All right, and you are a local pastor?
I am a local church planting pastor, yes.
Church planting pastor. For those of you that don't know what that is, Casey, would you? What's a
Yeah,
church
so
planter?
planting churches is how this thing has kind of grown over the last 2,000 years. People go out and they're a part of a church for a while, and then they say, hey, there's more need, so let's go start this someplace else.
So those people are the seeds from another grown church.
That's right.
And you help plant them.
And we plant, and then we grow, and hopefully we keep planting.
Okay. All right. Now, this church that you're helping plant,
yes.
Are you going to be the lead pastor?
I am the lead pastor.
Baby?
That's correct. Yes, this is myself and another pastor. His name's Stephen. He's coming with me as well, and the two of us together just have a vision, a dream.
Two seeds.
Two seeds to see something special happen in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I can absolutely get behind that.
Yeah.
Because Charlotte needs some good stuff.
Charlotte, yeah.
Okay. So, is this going to be a Catholic church? Is this going to be a Baptist church, a Southern Baptist church, a Methodist? Which church is this going to be?
We're thinking Scientology. No, this is Tom Cruise called me. He was like, "Listen, I'm thinking of Charlotte." No, it's a non-denominational church, which despite popular opinion, is not the atheist version of Christianity.
Non-denominational.
Non-denominational just means that we do not specifically. Almost like an affiliation. We are not specifically affiliated with any of the major sects of religion, sects, of religion or of Christianity. We choose to say we are non-denominational. We don't hold on to anyone specifically. We have a specific flavor, and that's what the non-denominational usually ends up being.
Does non-denominational give you the get out of jail free card?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's the only reason we did this. No, for me, allowing someone that is skeptical or critical of religion to walk in the door without all of the snares that maybe a mainline might bring, whether they were raised Baptist or raised Pentecostal or raised Catholic, they can walk in and know that we believe in Christ, we believe in the Bible, and we believe that Jesus is the way to salvation. So we start there and then kind of move out in terms of theology and practically how this church will run.
Given everything we know about Jesus, where he was born and the region and all that, why is he always still depicted as a white guy?
I have no idea. The pictures that I now have any credibility given to, it's him as a Middle Eastern man.
Once it was understood where he was from and what he would really look like, don't you think that would like require a mass change of paintings?
Okay, I'm going to say a word and think about, or I'm going to say a phrase and think about how this would impact the Holy Roman Catholic Church. Okay, the most powerful and largest religious institution on the planet for many, many years, and probably still owns more real estate than any other organization on the planet. They were all white dudes. So it probably made sense for them to go, well, we want to see Jesus kind of like us, so let's make him pale, pasty, white with brown hair and a loincloth on a cross.
Should churches remain tax exempt?
Because you're talking to an accounting major. Okay. Not just a pastor.
Okay,
so this
exactly.
Is tough. I think that churches should be, based on what I read in my Bible, some of the best run organizations on the planet and should not necessarily need to be tax exempt. Yeah, so you're talking to an accounting major, but also a guy that just says, I think, to hide behind the church as a tax exempt thing and to think that you can't survive without it, that's not a great place to be.
Would you say we have somebody exhibiting Christian values in the White House?
Come on, man. Yeah. We have someone in office that's exhibiting Christian, what do you say, behavior?
Values.
I think it would be really hard to make an argument that the basis and foundation for which our current president makes all decisions and everything that he says or tweets comes from a Christian value standpoint. I think that'd be a hard argument to make.
Okay. Is possession a real thing? Like you see in the movies?
Oh,
demonic possession.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%.
That's 100% right.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
And whoa, say that again?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen people possessed.
And
in Africa on 2 different occasions.
Really?
Yeah. It's a very, very real thing. We don't see it as much here, but yeah, absolutely. Why? Oppression and possession. So to be oppressed by Satan or demons or whatever, or to be possessed. People. Or white people.
You said you were in Africa.
That's right. Come on. The spiritual realm is a very real place.
I believe that 100%.
And we interact with it way more than we think we do. But
I agree with
man,
you.
we just explain it away yeah. I've seen it.
You described the Bible as, what was it?
A library.
A library.
Yeah.
The Bible's a library of books, and you said from different genres? Mm-hmm. How do they know they have the real version?
Sure. Great question that a lot of people ask. Is what we're holding in our hands actually what was written and in the intended way that it was written back, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago? Some of that is understanding how it happened, specifically New Testament, because I think one of the biggest things that I harp on is my faith is not solely dependent on the Bible. It's dependent on an event. So the event of the resurrection of Christ is what my faith is, because he could have gone to the grave.
You base your faith on the one event of the resurrection of Christ.
Correct.
Okay.
Because in that and through that lens, everything else comes into focus.
If God gave man free will,
yes,
how can everything be a part of his plan? And if everything's a part of his plan, how can man have free will?
Okay. Wow. We're talking about sovereignty, which it took me until like last year to figure out how to spell that word. Because this is a question with which I will wrestle probably for the rest of my life. Can I tell you a Chinese proverb? Are you cool with that?
Will that not go against Christianity?
No, I think it's actually really good.
Okay.
Chinese has some great proverbs. There's this village in China, and there's a family, and there's a young man in the family that has this horse, or the family has this horse, and the horse breaks free, gets out of the stable or whatever, and runs away. And the people of the village come, and they're like, oh, this is so terrible, like so sorry that this has happened to you. And the grandfather, this wise character that plays through the rest of the story, comes and says, is it good? Is it bad? Who can say? So time goes on, and the horse returns, but with it brings this amazing stallion, and comes into the stable, and now they have this amazing steed stallion. It's a huge rejoicing. The village comes and goes, this is amazing, like look at what turned out, this is awesome. And the grandfather once again says, well, is it good, is it bad? Who can say? Well, the younger man is riding the stallion one day, and the stallion bucks and kicks him off, and he breaks his pelvis. And the whole town comes again and goes, oh, well, this is horrible. This is tragedy. Old man again says, is it good? Is it bad? Who can say? Continues. Some time goes on. Another couple weeks, the village goes to war with a neighboring town, or the country does, and they have to, all able-bodied men under the age or over the age of 18 or so have to go and be enlisted. Well, guess what? Our man with a broken hip, he doesn't have to go. So therefore, he gets to stay and be with his family as everything goes out. Everybody goes out and gets killed. And the village once again goes, you must be rejoiced. It's amazing. And again, the old man says, is it good? Is it bad? Who can say?
Little did they know that was the start of Vietnam.
That was the start of Vietnam. But the crux of this proverb, and I love that it's a Chinese proverb, is you don't actually know until you know. Until the end of the story. Because if I had ended at the horse left, well, then it's like, oh, that's bad news. Well, okay, he brought back a stallion. That's really good news. So God worked all things together for our good. Well, then he breaks his pelvis. Oh, God's horrible. Oh, wait, he doesn't have to go to war. Oh, God's great again. It's like, okay, is it based on our perception of what is good or not? Or is there something cosmically above all that is somehow infiltrating each of these moments that we won't see until we get to the end and look backwards? I'm trusting in that. And there are some moments where I look at a situation, a tragedy, especially when it comes to kids. I mean, I have 4 kids, all under the age of 8, and goodness gracious, if something ever were to happen to them, I don't know what I would do. But as of right now, it hasn't. So in my world, God is good, and everything's great, and my kids are healthy and happy. If something were to go wrong, like, does that all of a sudden make God not God? I mean, no, because again, what is my faith based on? An event.
One event.
The event does not change.
So, okay, from the everyman, that would sound fanatical. Okay?
Fanatical that it's all based on an event?
Yeah. You're basing your faith on an event that you didn't even witness, that you're hearing, and you're believing. Mm-hmm. You're basing your faith on a story you trust is true. That's ultimately what it comes down to. Am I correct?
That is true, yes.
Here it is, Quick Questions with Casper Van Dien. Quick question. The new iteration of Starship Troopers, the Traitor of Mars, would you say it's a much different experience doing voiceover? And how does that open up a whole new level of storytelling for the Starship Troopers saga?
Well, Starship Troopers Traitor of Mars was directed by Shinji Aramaki, who is one of the top mechanized suit designers in the world. He created Soundwave from the original Transformers, and he saw Starship Troopers when he was a little boy. That's what we were missing in Starship Troopers, the first one. If anybody who read the book, they were all like, well, they don't have the power suits, the power armor. We wanted to do it, but we didn't have enough money or time back then. They only could do one, either the bugs or the suits, so they chose the bugs, which I'm grateful for, but I always wanted the power suits. And now they put it in there, and they got Ed Neumeyer, who wrote the original one, and who also wrote RoboCop, to write this one, and it's just fun to be in it again.
Quick question. Oh, man. We'll be right back after a word from our no sponsors. Everyone says there's a secret to great seafood. Well, they're right. Here at the Sunset Grill, we've been the secret keepers for over 27 years, serving St. Augustine the freshest seafood and chowders you can find. From our dry-rubbed and slow-roasted ribs to our handcrafted sandwiches, it's no wonder the Sunset Grill is St. Augustine Beach's most award-winning restaurant. The great chowder debate? There's no question. The taste of St. Augustine? Check. The Daddle Pepper Festival? We burn the competition, and many more. You want to know the secret? You'd never believe us. You'll have to come taste it for yourself. Find us on Facebook or give us a call, 1-904-471-5555. The Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A.
I walk on this money. Woo! 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 Get some anointing. You put something up here. Woo! Put this anointing on it. Or put this anointing on it. I tell you what, you put something up here. I'm putting this anointing on this money, man.
I take issue with a God, whether it's Christian, Muslim, or anybody, that will hand out infinite punishment for finite crimes.
There's no short answers to this, so buckle up.
That's what sucks.
Well, it sucks, but again, this comes back to
the answer's faith.
No. I mean, yes and no. Yes, that there has to be faith because if you see it, it's not faith anymore. It's real. It's reality. Now, I see the resurrection as fact because there's more evidence of that event than Shakespeare writing all of his works, or
there's more evidence of a man coming back from the dead.
Yes, and this is a broad stroke, so I want to touch into it. Finite. What'd you say?
Why do they suffer infinite punishment for finite crimes?
Finite crimes. Okay. So the problem is, if we see our crimes as finite, then we actually haven't fully understand this whole concept of the fall. Okay, Genesis 3, third chapter of the Bible, where it talks about mankind rebelling against its creator. Okay, so we're talking about cosmic treason. And we get to a moment
but
we
he
go,
knew this was coming. This is all his plan, right? How can we be treasonous about somebody who wrote that we were going to be treasonous?
Well, you talked about free will. Can love exist in a world where there's not free will? Can love exist in a world where there isn't evil?
Love can exist in any world.
Can love exist in a world where there's not free will?
Yes.
The answer is absolutely not.
You don't think so?
No.
Why?
Because that's
love
not
is
love.
Something so pure.
Love.
Well, okay.
Because my definition of love requires sacrifice. Because we talk about love like I love water, I love McDonald's, or I love that movie.
I love lamp.
And I love lamp. I love carpet. And then you go home and you say, "Well, babe, I love you," and it's like, "Well, wait.
How many things did you love today?"
Yeah. Did you have your love today? And then we say, "Well, God loves us," and we the Christian world, expect that people that are not in the club, not in the lingo, understand what we mean when we say God loves us. Because in most of the world's definition of love means you give me what I want and you make me feel good. And that's not love. That's like infatuation, and that's good feelings and emotions.
I agree with you that love is sacrifice.
Love is sacrifice, right?
That's what
would you do for your kids? What would you do for your kids? You'd die for your kids.
Absolutely, willingly.
Okay. Would you ever kill one of your kids for me?
No.
Absolutely not.
Sorry, Casey. You're a cool guy.
Okay. Do you know who killed their kid for you? That's love.
Okay.
That's love. Well, we go, oh, how could he love us if he did this? He didn't give him just himself. He gave us his son. I would never give you my son.
Going off what you said, but knowing that he would be sacrificed and killed and would be back up in heaven with his dad, he knew that was going to happen. That was part of the plan. So how can you honestly call it a sacrifice if it's already been planned?
In the moment that Jesus was on the cross, he experienced the fullness of the pain, the suffering, the belaboring of breath, the bleeding out, and had gone through an entire day of torture. At any one point, he could have called down like legions of angels by saying, well, he knew that he was going to be resurrected at some point, and therefore it doesn't make it a sacrifice, I think is possibly belittling what he was actually expected to go through. I don't know that I could, with a clear conscience, say, well, it's not really sacrifice because he knew that he was coming back, because he had to watch his son die. And to that is back to that question of, well, there has to be sacrifice. Like love means sacrifice, so that there's never a moment in my existence.
That's how he showed he loves us?
For God so loved, that's John 3:16. It's on like every bumper sticker in Charlotte. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him shall have eternal life.
You know what Austin 3:16 says, right?
Yeah, tell me.
Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass.
All right. All right. There you go. You got it in.
What does the Bible say about UFOs?
Oh, that's right.
UFOs,
okay.
aliens, grays, draconians, shapeshifters. Let's get into it.
Right, let's talk about Klingons. Nope, those are in your nose. So I would say that there is because of the creation story, because of the way that we see God make man in his image and say, hey, this is good, and that there wasn't like day 8. He was like, and then I went to another planet and did this all over again. I would say the Bible is not too supportive of it because they don't talk about it. My 7-year-old self kind of hopes that there is.
I like big Bibles and I cannot lie. You Christian brothers can't deny that when a girl walks in with a KJV and a bookmark in Proverbs, you get stoked. Got a name engraved so you know this girl is saved. It looks like one of those large ones with plenty of space in the margins. Oh baby, I want to read with ya, cause your Bible's got pictures. My minister tried to console me, but that book you got makes
me so holy.
Are Christians allowed to watch R-rated movies?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I draw the line at nudity. I usually will not partake or look away just because swear words are scripted. Fight scenes are made up. The violence is makeup, but a woman's body is a woman's body. So I go, that you can't fake, but everything else, man, I'm a movie junkie.
I'm a cinephile myself.
I mean, I literally, we had a group at one point, a group text message from me and a bunch of buddies called the Cinemaholics, and we would go almost every week. I mean, there's a ton of movies that you can go see that are really, really good that don't include nudity.
Here it is. Quick questions with Casper Van Dien. Quick question.
How is it that you attack each role that you play with complete fearlessness? Where's that coming from?
Well, I think I'm scared all the time, and I appreciate it, and thank you for saying that, but it's just believing it. I mean, 20 years later from Starship Troopers, I'm thrilled that this is still a huge part of my life.
Quick question.
Earlier, you mentioned Genesis 3:3. Was it?
Yes.
Okay. The fall. Moving just a little bit forward, Genesis 6:6.
Just read this, this week.
The Lord regretted he had made
human. Yeah.
How can a perfect being regret something?
So I read that.
Yes.
I read that on
please.
either Tuesday or Wednesday morning.
Because you got to understand, again, as the everyman.
The common man, yeah. How do you read these words and go, oh, this is the God who loves us? Yeah, man.
Okay.
So I was walking with a buddy of mine that morning. We were dropping off for kids.
My way downtown.
Yeah, that's right. And I turned to him. I said, man, I was reading the lead up to Noah. And man, these words cut me. God regretted making man. What I read in that, again, what answer or what question is the Bible looking at answering that? Coming into 6, what is being said about humanity at that point? Humanity is now so incredibly sin-filled that all they're doing are evil things and all they're thinking are evil thoughts all the time. And God, in his holiness, he says, we're starting over. So you think about how many folks there were on the earth at that point. I don't know. But he finds one. He says, this guy's righteous. This guy's walking with me.
Are you talking about Noah?
Yes.
But wasn't Noah a drunk?
Not yet. Not yet.
It wasn't until he started hearing that big voice.
He had a long trip, okay? He had a long boat ride. So to me, the question that story is answering is, how holy is God and how bad is our sin? That so God would go,
had to regret it.
I'm going to start over. God uses water to cleanse the earth. And out of that is birthed a new day, a new reign, right? Because Noah now gets to repopulate this thing, and hopefully they're good people, which we find out later. We end up sinning anyway, but God says, I'm never going to do this again.
Question.
Hit me.
I caught something, and I want to ask real quick.
Yeah, go.
Noah and his family, all relatives, right?
Noah, his wife, his sons, and the sons' wives. It's not sisters.
They had to repopulate the earth in a polygamist way? Is that what we're to understand?
Sons and their wives. So
okay,
they had wives. The sons had one wife, and then Noah had his wife. So if you go from...
Wouldn't that ultimately be mingling the same DNA? Even though you start with two separate...
Well, this is some of the stuff of Adam and Eve.
It gets into
is there anyone else? Because we get lineage in the Bible, which is nice. Is it that the bloodlines back then were pure? I'm making up stuff right now. I have no idea. Okay. I mean, just being real.
You know what? Saying I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Perfectly valid.
But I look at Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives and go, they just had a bunch of kids, and then their kids had kids, had kids, had kids, had kids, had kids.
Speaking of Noah, what did the carnivores eat on the ark?
What did the carnivores eat? Well, let me ask you a question. How many of each animal were there?
It's supposed to be 2, right? Male and female?
So this is a beautiful thing that we misread so often.
Okay.
It actually says there are to be 7 couples of the clean animals and then just male and female of the unclean animals. In the 40 days that they're on the ark, what's Noah feeding the lions? I don't know. Are the lambs? Yeah, exactly. There they went. The mastodons that are unclean. Yeah, I don't know. Chickens.
Now, should the story of Noah and the ark be taken literal or as a story?
Literally, in my brain.
Okay.
And in most circles of Christianity today, they would say that really happened.
Job's wife, what happened to her? I was told it was a bet between God and Satan.
In the narrative that this story is unfolding for us. We see this guy named Job that has everything. And Satan and God, we somehow get a behind-the-scenes look at a dialogue that they're having. So Satan comes to God and says, hey, there's your son Job. He loves you, but I bet you he just loves you because he has everything. And God goes, okay, let's see. God allows the devil to mess with Job and starts stripping away piece by piece all the things that were great about him. And Job starts looking up at heaven, and he's kind of like, God, like I'm here for you. Like what'd I do, man? Like I'm here for you. Like, why did this happen? God answers him in the last 3 chapters and starts to ask him questions like this.
All right.
Hey, Job, where were you when I counted the stars and put them in the atmosphere? Where were you when I told the ocean where to stop? Where were you when I stretched out the land and made sure it was the right size? Where were you as I...
Is that passive-aggressive?
No. It's reminding him the place that he has in the grand scheme of all. Okay, back to your question. So what happened to his wife? I don't know. Is that the crux of the story? No, the crux of the story is the God that we serve is not a vending machine. I don't give him $1 and then he gives me what I want. I don't pray to him and say, do this, and he does this.
Okay.
Things change.
Well, then... From the everyman who doesn't understand it like that, that would look and sound like God made a bet with Satan. A man lost his wife.
Did I tell you what happened in the end?
No.
He got it back like threefold.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Are women allowed to preach?
Preach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't it say in the Bible that a woman shouldn't?
Let me say the meta-narrative, and then I'll get to this, but it'll be much shorter. There are yeses and nos to women in leadership positions all throughout the Bible. Where I stand at this point is that I believe women can lead and have God-given abilities that allow them to do so, and I actually do think that they can speak in ways and teach well. I personally, and I would stand with a lot of probably conservative evangelicals, that I do not believe the position of senior pastor being both male and female, that is supposed to be a role of a male. But that's where I stand at this point. I have one daughter out of my 4 kids. I wouldn't want someone standing over saying, oh, you can't lead because you're a woman. I mean, the Bible doesn't say that. Do I think that she should be a senior pastor of a church? I don't. I think there is ways and roles in which that she could play that are God-given that aren't that.
Are churches right now allowed to endorse politicians?
Based on the articles of incorporation that I just filled out in North Carolina, I think to become a 501c3 tax-exempt entity, you have to say that you don't. But that
Do you
might be
think they
different in
should be
different
allowed?
states. My short answer is no. I think that if you're doing your job well and you're discipling your people well, you shouldn't have to tell them which person to vote for. That's harsh, because I know there's pastors out there that do that.
Here it is. Quick questions with Casper Van Dien. Quick question.
What is your absolute favorite genre to play in?
Well, I love, I'm working on, right now I've been on Con Man with Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk, and it's on Sci-Fi Channel now, and it's a fun little series that I'm doing, which is comedy and everything like that. And I play this bartender, and it's a lot of fun to do. I love doing the comedy. I love being around my friends doing that. I also love Westerns, and I love that. I love that history, that rich history that we have with the Western and the frontier and all of that. So,
quick question.
Speaking about the crucifixion, they talked about it in Matthew 27. They talked about it in Luke 23. They talked about it in John 19. They all account for his last words, but they're all different. How are we to know what his last words were? Are we supposed to say, okay, let's put them all together and see what the gist is?
I actually think stuff like this, contextualized stuff of the different Gospels, actually make it more believable.
Really?
And this is the popular misconception of how the Bible came to be. If you're a group of old white dudes trying to go, okay, let's get our stuff together, let's put this thing together,
our story straight, guys,
and share it out. Would you have different things that Jesus said at the end? No. You would have said, nope, like, this is what he said, and this is done, so let's mess. Okay. I think some of that stuff, man, gives such validity, such much more validity, because it's humans that wrote it.
I can understand that.
Not angels.
In the Bible, doesn't it jump from Jesus at age 13 to like 33? Those are the most formative years of our lives.
Okay.
That's where we go through puberty.
No, very formative. Yes, correct.
Don't you want to know?
That'd be nice. That's all I got to kind of say about that. I've never even thought about that.
Really?
That's the first time I think anyone's asked me that question.
Really?
Yeah. Because
it'd go a long way.
It could, but the character of who Jesus was and the lessons with which Jesus teaches writes the story, right? Because he is without sin. So we know Jesus never sinned. So that tells me a little bit about his age
Teenage
16
years,
through 19 years.
He stayed sinless.
Yeah.
All right. You know, Casey, I really appreciate you coming in and sitting down. This was the second time we got to talk. We just had so much on the first one. We needed to do a part 2 so we can get it all together. I really appreciate you coming in. Now, if somebody wants to reach out to you, you know, do you have a church location yet? How can somebody reach out to you if they have questions? You know, some of the stupid questions that I ask.
Sure.
I'm sure people have smarter ones. And there may be even a few dumber ones, but, you know.
Way smarter. No, I'm just joking.
How can we get to you, boss?
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate that. So we just started gathering as a small congregation, small launch team for this church plant. It's called Charlotte Church Plant because we think you should just call it what it is for now until God gives us a different name. So charlottechurchplant.org is our website. We have a blog that we put out each week, every Monday, and if you subscribe to it, you get the ability to kind of see what's on our hearts and see where we're going.
You get free tickets to the first service.
Free tickets to the first service. We serve dinner, so folks can get free meal, which is good. But charlottechurchplant.org. My name is Casey Crimmins with an I, because a lot of people put the O in there. And
they can find the blog on that website?
They can find the blog. Yeah, it's on the website. And actually, at the bottom of the blog, there's comment section. And then, you know, people sometimes will read something and go, hey, I don't really understand this. And in terms of contact, casey.crimmins@gmail is my email address. I get back to folks within 24 to 48 hours. And questions are awesome. If you're in Charlotte and looking for maybe a different type of community that believes the things that we believe, but thinks that there's a different way to go about it to reach the folks that maybe aren't quite there yet. The critics and the skeptics, we'd say that this is a church for you. It's a family that's grown, which is wonderful. We get together on Sundays at 4 o'clock or 4:30. Childcare is provided. It's just a good time. We had our first gathering last week, and it was a lot of fun. So thanks.
Oh, man.
Feel
I
free to
really
reach out.
appreciate it, Casey. You guys reach out to him. Casey, again, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Here it is. Quick questions with Casper Van Dien. Quick question.
Between in front of the camera and behind the camera, that's all a form of art. I find you are a published poet at 17. Do you still write? Do you still have that outlet?
I don't write as much as I used to. I probably should start writing again just because I've been having the urge, so it's really strange you bring that up. I haven't even thought about that in a while. But I scribble down a couple of things and I go, nah, and then I stop a little bit.
Quick question. Everyone says there's a secret to great seafood. Well, they're right. Here at the Sunset Grill, we've been the secret keepers for over 27 years, serving St. Augustine the freshest seafood and chowders you can find. From our dry rubbed and slow roasted ribs to our handcrafted sandwiches, it's no wonder the Sunset Grill is St. Augustine Beach's most award-winning restaurant. The great chowder debate? There's no question. The taste of St. Augustine? Check. The Daddle Pepper Festival? We burn the competition. And many more. You want to know the secret? You'd never believe us. You'll have to come taste it for yourself. Find us on Facebook or give us a call. 1-904-471-5555. The Sunset Grill. Somewhere on A1A. All right, my brain is completely scrambled after all that. If you've got any questions, make sure you reach out to Casey Crimmins with the information he provided. If you need to reach out to me, you can find me on Facebook, Voiceover by Michael. You can even email me, voiceoverbymichael@gmail.com. Really appreciate Casey Crimmins coming in, sitting down, and listening to me spout off some craziness, wondering about the Bible. Coming up next, a Christian, a Muslim, and an atheist walk into a bar. No, that's not a joke. That's coming up next. Yamnation Episode 6. Buckle up.